Hi everyone, welcome back to the Power of a Hobby. I'm your host Don Fenton, and today I have another guest. Hi Ben, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. A little bit croaky from being away, but you know what? That's what happens. So Ben, for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Ben Kelly of BJK Entertainment Limited.
Amazing. Ben, first question. What does the power of a hobby mean to you?
Power of a hobby to me means that I actually can help others with what I do. And what I mean by that is, I'll go into it in a bit, but when I do my hobby, people enjoy what I do. So, and that's partly why I do it.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the thing. And I think actually this one's slightly different today because actually a lot of what you do and what we've spoken about actually is about bringing joy to others
100%.
rather than necessarily, and necessarily it does bring joy to you, but because actually you're basically because you're bringing joy to other people.
The satisfaction that I get out of it is seeing people happy.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So, Ben, without further ado, why don't you let people know what your hobby is?
So my hobby is I'm a DJ. So I put on parties for people, events. So parties, children parties for adults, weddings, corporate, and charity events too.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So, obviously, you've got a backstory. We all have backstories. Why don't you, obviously, from a DJ point of view, why don't you sort of go into let us know how you got into it?
Yep, that's no problem at all. So basically, I'm disabled for those that are listening in rather than watching in. And I went to a college for the disabled in Cheltenham called the National Star College. Now, that is a college where it's a residential college where you stay, and they have typically 200 students on site, and they need to be entertained, or they need something to do.
Yeah.
So I basically was voted onto the student union as entertainment officer. So I needed to entertain 200 students that couldn't get into to entertain because they have various disabilities and some needed one-to-one support, etc. So I didn't have the budget to put on events. From the college wanted it to be a separate and they wanted me to put on an event. So I basically asked for a small budget. They said no. I said a monthly budget so I could put something on. They said no. So I said, okay, give me 3 months worth of budget. I will buy the equipment in and I will be the DJ. And therefore, I have something to do every Friday, Saturday night rather than going to town and spend money myself, win. And I gave 200 students something to go to and attend when they couldn't get into town and go clubbing or whatever. So I I feel it would bring in the nightclub to them rather than them
Yeah.
going out to clubs and stuff. We'll just bring it to them, charge them five on the door each time, which then covered the equipment breakages or if I needed to update the equipment and all that. And it was brilliant. And I just did that for about a year.
Love it. And yeah, and I just think being put in a position like you were and being able to move forward and look at what you do and actually go, you know what? I'll do it myself. That's bravery, mate. Honestly, that's bravery to be able to step out your comfort zone
But
How much? What have you done anything like that before?
nothing at that point, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I generally, I yeah, because of my disability, put me in a corner, I will fight out of it
Yeah.
with my health, with education, with everything that I've done. I've had no's in the past, and I just overcome hurdles. And a no from the cash point of view to me was just another hurdle.
Yeah.
So I just like, okay, well, let's adapt. If you're not going to support the way that I need supporting, I'll adapt what I need to do
Yeah.
and make it happen. So they supported us with one lump sum of money effectively. And then they said, right, you're on your own.
Mate, honestly, incredible. That's and I love these. We've known each other a little while, and obviously I've known what you do work wise.
Yeah.
But never heard how it start. That sort of all that started.
Yeah.
And I just, how does we talk about hobbies being our identity, being part of who we are? How does that make you feel? I know we briefly touched on it, but how does that internally make you feel?
Massively grateful to be able to put on to do what I do to enable to bring the enjoyment. It's not about the money for me. The job is seriously not about the money for me. It's about making it happen.
Yeah, and I just think, as you say, there are challenges that are put in front of us, and actually, what I really hope people listen and even get from this short part of this podcast is that actually these are just things put in front of us are hurdles.
Absolutely.
And they're hurdles for us to overcome, or objects just to move out of the way and step forward. Because actually, we shouldn't let anything get in our way.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think you're proof of that in terms of where you get. So, how long ago was that?
That was in 2013, so 10 years ago this year, actually.
How poignant you've come onto the podcast and 10 years later.
Yeah, as soon as you asked that question, I was like, oh gosh, it's 10 years.
Yeah, and so in terms of where you are, so if we said that was 2013.
Yeah.
You're still DJing now?
I am. I've adapted to to the climate over the years, and we'll go into that in a bit. But yeah, I've never stopped because I love it. If you've got a passion for something, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, no, I agree. My concept of a hobby is passion, is that will of going and doing and having people around you and camaraderie, and you're all on the same goal. And actually, I suppose I've got a brother that DJs. I've never done that myself, but
Yeah.
I can imagine just what goes through you when they're up and they're dancing and they're enjoying it and they're having fun and you're getting into it as well. And I can't imagine there's nothing for what you do. I can't imagine there's nothing like it.
Absolutely. So a couple of things on that. I do children's parties and weddings as part of what I do, right?
Yeah.
To me, if I haven't got kids dancing on a dance floor
Yeah.
and they're screaming their heads off and they're singing along, if they're not doing that, I haven't done my job properly.
Yeah.
Things. If the bride isn't crying her eyes out on the first dance, there's something not right.
It's a wrong song.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a conversation that I should have with the couple prior to the event. So if that hasn't happened at the event, or if there's no tears in the whole event, then that I've done something wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, and it is, and I think a lot of these, it tends to be, I suppose, what you do. You're involved in really important days for some of these people.
Absolutely,
Wedding days, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it is. Actually, these should be really special days for these people involved.
exactly.
And I suppose the pressure then becomes part of that. But I suppose as well, providing, as you say, you've communicated with people properly and you've done all that sort of stuff, then actually you've done you're in a strong place.
100%. And 10 years in, I know those questions to ask.
Yeah,
I know those things to go, right, let's get this right. So I always have a client meeting before any event
yeah,
to make sure I've got everything that they want.
no, love it. So 10 years on,
Yeah,
we're now 2023,
yeah.
still DJing, still doing all your bits. Where are you now with what you do?
Okay, I don't want to put anybody off, but we've just come out of a pandemic so many months ago now,
Yeah,
and it absolutely my business dropped off, literally killed everything. So I bounced back. I pressed the reset button effectively. I'm back to DJing, not as often as I was because I've got ill health now as well,
right.
but I'm
Yeah,
still doing it. But I've now adapted that further. I now work with in the pandemic. I networked online, grew my connections. So now I sort entertainment for special occasions anywhere in the UK through the suppliers that I've met. So if you want to DJ in Manchester, if you want to DJ in London, etc., singer, magician, anything typically on stage or a performance, then I can get that for you. I've also in the pandemic devised a party box,
yeah,
so I could send them off. So typically at that time it was children that wanted to have a party. They didn't want to miss out on their birthday, so mom
yeah,
and dad could buy a party box and have a small party, like a
yeah.
little family party, things like that. And it's working out brilliantly. It really is. It's actually given me a whole new perspective.
Okay. And I suppose that's the thing now. We're in 2023. We were in this pandemic for 2 years, roughly two, maybe three. Took a while to come out of things.
Yeah.
How,
I couldn't do what I
you know,
did for 3 years.
yeah. And I suppose how, and I suppose for you, and I suppose as a DJ, you want to be going to venues, you want to be going to sites, you want to be. How easy was it before pandemic? How easy was it for you to get about? Obviously, with your disability, with the disability, how easy was it to get around?
Oh, it was. So I am disabled. I don't drive. I
Yeah,
literally am a typical or stereotypical disabled person.
yeah,
So I have to have a personal assistant to help me.
right, okay,
My equipment won't set up itself if it's too heavy for me.
yeah,
Being sat down is a nightmare, so you can't do it.
yeah,
I had to do things with him or her.
yeah,
No, so I was doing typically one every 2 weeks
okay,
at the height.
yeah,
And so to get around was brilliant because I got my name about in venues, and I used to get my clientele to book me, and then I used to turn up at venues, and that's how I got myself
yeah,
in
yeah,
venues. But yeah, so without my helper, it wouldn't happen. And even to this day now, as a limited company, I can't. I literally, if my helper goes ill, I can't do it.
right, okay. So you're very, as I say, so you're very reliant on other from that side of it, from for other people.
Absolutely. I'm actually working on that to make that not happen through other avenues and pots of money from the government and stuff, because I've realised the more people I have available to help me, the less it's likely that I'm going to have those issues.
Okay.
To this day, I had, because it was teething issues in the first couple of years,
Yeah.
I had issues more then, but now for the past 8 years, I've not had issues of having, oh my God, what they'll do, somebody's ill on the day,
Yeah.
can't help. 8 years in to the 10 years, I've not had issues of ringing people and going, I'll be there, but I might be out
Yeah.
early.
Okay. How difficult was it to reset for you? Or was it a must? Actually, I have to.
It was a case of I have to, I have no choice.
Yeah.
So my resilience, everybody that I know outside of my family goes, how do you stay positive and how do you do what you do?
Yeah.
And my honest answer to that is I've had to overcome hurdles all my life. All it is, you put another barrier to me, and I just got to work out how to get around it.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. So being disabled, I was also in the category where we had to be shielded
Yeah.
as well. So even when we came out, everyone was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, I'm disabled. I have no respiratory issues. I'm going to do what I need to do, and if anything happens as a result, that's on me." And so many months afterwards now, we're still in it. I'm back to half what I used to do pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
because I think, because we're in a cost of living crisis, I think that's what's affecting people now, rather than the COVID-19 issue.
Yeah.
I generally think it's just a money issue now. So eventually, when that improves, because it will improve
Yeah.
over time, that's when I start getting back to my proper capacity as before and
Yeah.
doing more on top.
How excited are you by what you're doing with other performers, with your Party in a Box? How exciting is that? Or how excited do you see that moving forward?
Oh, I see it growing massively. I genuinely see me becoming one of the go-to people to organise entertainment anywhere in the UK.
Okay.
Anywhere in the UK, in England ideally,
Yeah.
but Scotland, Wales, not a problem. Ireland, I'm not sure because of the issues political, but we're not going to get into
Yeah.
politically. I don't want to get political.
No, we don't. We don't do politics on this podcast.
Exactly.
But so what would you so if someone was listening to this and wanted to become a DJ, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
what would you say to them initially?
If you've got a passion for DJing, then I would literally, if you know somebody that DJ, or you know somebody that you can hook up with, just ask them if you wouldn't mind sitting with them or just watching what they do,
Yeah.
to get the ins and outs of how it works. Help ask or offer them to help them set them up, because it doesn't take an extra pair of hands is always helpful, trust me. But yeah, and then like I did, because after the college that I did, I was like, right, I've got the bare basics of how to DJ, but I had no business acumen. I had no business know-how.
Yeah.
And how I learnt my business know-how of how to run a business is the Prince's Trust. Now, the Prince's Trust is a whole nother conversation, I suppose, but they help people take their business, their ideas and their hobbies and their aspirations, and help them to do what they want with them. I'm sure they help with people with hobbies and things as well. But I generally think if you are young, I think their cutoff is 25.
Yeah, I think they're like 16 to 25 or something like that, or something around that sort of age group.
I think it is. I was a little bit older, but I was just over, so they allowed me to do it.
Yeah.
So I literally got in through the Prince's Trust. They gave me a lump sum to start business.
Yeah.
And then I've obviously improved over the years and updated the equipment, etc. But if you going back to the actual hobby, just if you've got a passion, then just do it. Whatever. Actually, this is a good point. If you've got something that you want to do, search on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be groups in Facebook that will have a core following for that passion, for that hobby. Find it on Facebook and ask around.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I think actually what I've noticed is that the more of these podcasts I do, actually Facebook comes up quite a lot.
Yeah,
certainly for that, especially if someone's not sure or they're in a new area or they want to try a new hobby. Actually, social media and Facebook's coming up quite a lot now.
I get. Well, I'm going business here. I
Yeah.
get all of my business through Facebook. There's nothing else.
Right. Okay.
I don't pay for adverts. I don't do
Yeah.
anything. It's all through Facebook. But then leading back, word of mouth is massive.
Yeah.
Again, having little conversations will lead to bigger things. That's what I do with my business. But relating that to hobbies, have those little conversations, and they may lead to bigger things with your hobby that you want to do.
Yeah. No, I love that. Ben, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
So I have a website, which is www.bjkentertainment entertainment-ltd.co.uk. I have an email address, which is bkelly22001@hotmail.com. I have a phone number. Happy to have calls and help people, hobby or business. 075 840 70865. And of course, the famous Facebook, which is, again, if you want to search me as a person, not a problem, Ben Kelly. I'm in a white shirt and tie, and it's just me in a wheelchair. Or if you want to go and look at my Facebook page, my business, which is BJK, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It's BJK Entertainment Limited hyphen your party, your way.
Love it. Ben, thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, whether you're via the podcast itself on audio or whether you're watching at YouTube. I'm your host, Don Fenton, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.